From the sun-soaked plains of the north to the fertile valleys of the south, a powerful alliance is reshaping Africa's agricultural landscape. Farmers, governments, businesses, and global organizations are uniting to unleash Africa's agricultural potential. At the heart of this movement is the Visualizing Insights on Fertilizer for African Agriculture, VIFA.
Using the AfricaFertilizer.org initiative as an example, that has been made up of a coalition of researchers, of private sector, of governments, and other organizations that collect data. So the only way you're going to be able to collect that data, validate that data, is you bring everybody on board. So that has been front and center. The interests of AfricaFertilizer is to build the partnerships around that.
We all bring different strong points or strong expertise to the core, right? So AfricaFertilizer collects this data. They have the relationships in the country. Development Gateway, we are the technical people. We have a lot of expertise in designing and visualizing this data. And then there is the advisory angle that Wallace Associates bring.
Across the continent, one of VIFA's major successes has been bridging the divide between the public and private sectors.
Notre association, normalement, les membres sont tous connectés à AfricaFertilizer.org. Ça nous permet d'avoir des informations, comme je l'ai dit tantôt, des informations sur les engrais disponibles, sur les engrais qui sont fabriqués, sur les engrais importés, sur les taxes relatives à ces engrais, etc., etc. Et normalement, ces informations, on les puise d'AfricaFertilizer.org. Valable pour notre pays, valable pour la région, mais valable pour toute l'Afrique. C'est grâce à cette AfricaFertilizer.org qu'on arrive à connaître tous les appels d'offres.
We had a lot and significant inefficiencies in the distribution system. From the time the fertilizer lands in Maputo port or Beira port, you have lots of bureaucracies that makes fertilizer expensive. So it's this kind of discussion we are having, but we have to bring the government to try to understand that they can get back this money they charge from the tax if more fertilizer will flow in the market.
For the over 35 members of the Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria, FEPSAN, AfricaFertilizer provides evidence-based insights to guide their advocacy on improving the sector.
For us in the fertilizer space, we have worked very closely with VIFA to ensure that we are getting the best quality data on the field, at the production level, and generally across the ecosystem, so that we're properly guided in our own advocacy and trying to point government to what the issues are as clearly as possible. In short, evidence-based advocacy is what we promote. We cannot promote that without good quality data.
As government, each time we go to these private sectors, they think that is going to be a basis for taxing them. So they consider a lot of information they refuse to declare. But when AFO came on board, we were able to put together the Fertilizer Technical Working Group, comprising both the private sector and the public sector. AFO was able to put in place this. And right now, we meet annually to validate data and statistics on fertilizers so that it becomes an official data for use in the country.
VIFA emerges as a promising model with the potential for scalability across Africa. The success achieved thus far inspires further investments from stakeholders in all sectors.
As more experts come into to know the existence of AFO, as more experts access, its better use will continue. So more promotion things are actually required, yet the branding, rebranding efforts which was done in past was substantial. So now at this stage, we now have some experts at Ministry of Agriculture who may know, the web page. But as it goes further, as we involve more stakeholders at different levels, from federal to region and lower level, Warada, then the use would get, better use.
This is the story of partnerships built on trust, nurtured by collaboration, and fueled by a shared vision of a revitalized African agriculture.
There's an African story for fertilizer. There's a Nigerian story. There's a Burkina Faso story. There's a Kenyan story. Every country has its own story. We believe that the piece of work and the kind of data that is being gathered, we can use it to tell the Nigerian story. We're not where we used to be. Nigeria used to be a net importer of everything fertilizer. Now we're a net exporter of urea. We can use that to begin to shape the demands across the region. How do we link up with other regions as opposed to just leaving it to chance that this demand or this market can be satisfied. That story itself needs to be told. And it's some of the stories that we believe that we need to tell together.
However, the journey has not been without challenges. Implementing the VIFA program required overcoming hurdles, including bridging data gaps and building trust among stakeholders in the fertilizer sector. Looking ahead, the sustainability of VIFA's impact will depend on nurturing and expanding these partnerships.
The sustainability model is critical. It's critical because if we now have the private sector starting to significantly rely on that data. Now, if something happens and we don't have access to it anymore, it will be a big shock on the system. And especially now that we've just come out of the AfricaFertilizer and Soil Health Summit, where we're projecting to triple fertilizer use across Africa, it's important that the data that helps monitor that progress is consistently available. And I see AfricaFertilizer play a major role in that regard.
By leveraging the strengths of various stakeholders, the VIFA program has demonstrated the power of partnership in driving positive change in Africa's fertilizer sector.
IFDC has formed a coalition, and under this coalition, we are going to support the various governments to see that the action plan that was agreed upon in the Nairobi Declaration is put into implementation. So what we shall do together with partners, we'll come together, work with the various governments to ensure that they can come up with strategies around integrated soil fertility management. And this is one area that IFDC is big on. This is where we are speaking about integrating inorganic, integrating with organic, and providing information so that stakeholders, farmers, and the business community can know what is happening.
But this is not just a story about tools and technology. It's about people, partnerships, and the collaborative efforts that are reshaping agriculture in Africa.
In the past, government was pulling in a certain direction and the private sector was pulling in an opposite direction with matters fertilizer in the African space. But over the last, I think, decade, the market is really grown in strength in that we see more and more the government and the private sector working together collaboratively.
And thanks to the partnership between the International Fertilizer Development Centre's AfricaFertilizer Initiative, Development Gateway, and Nyrex Venture, Wallace Associates, and with support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the fruits of innovation, powered by collaboration and partnerships, are now ripe for the picking.